But let's get into the PGA Tour. We have another major. It is the U.S. Open. I love the U.S. Open. It's the 125th iteration of this tournament. It's the third major of this PGA Tour season. Actually founded in 1895. It's been held annually since then. And what it's really known for is really, really tough courses. And we've got a doozy for them this year in Oakmont. We usually, this tournament, it's known for its rigorous course setups. We already have difficult courses that get chosen, but then they make it even tougher with the way they cut the rough. They grow the rough towards the player, is what I'm hearing for the Oakmont course. And we've seen this tournament go to different iconic venues like Pebble Beach multiple times, Shinnecock Hills. Oakmont they've been here before multiple times. We usually get a dramatic finish too in this tournament because the scores stay relatively close due to the challenge and keeping the scores really low, high, however you want to say it for golf. But none of these the courses that we've been to in the past few years are more challenging than Oakmont. So a little bit of an overview of Oakmont. The average score per round at the 2016 U.S. Open was a plus 3.5. That was the average. This course is generally looked at as the hardest in the U.S., but it does truly allow players of all types to thrive if you do bring your best. Because in 2016, the U.S. Open leaderboard featured a winner who was that year's second longest driver, who was just Dustin Johnson, while the man who ranked 190th in that category, Jim Furyk, finished second in the field. So all types of players can have success here. But it's already a tough course, but with the U.S. Open setup, it will be absolutely diabolical. Roughs grown towards the player instead of away, tougher pin locations. They've actually gotten rid of the aiming flagpoles. And there's a lot of like blind fairway shots that the players are going to have to hit. Give me your thoughts on Oakmont, on the U.S. Open. Are you excited about this year? Because I love the U.S. Open.
Yes, this year should be pretty entertaining. The key thing is you've got to hit it in the fairway and you've got to hit the green in regulation. If you can do that, you're going to have a chance to win. Might not score low, but you might. That does not guarantee you're going to score low because the greens are also tough on this course, but you will be in contention. I can almost guarantee that. I agree. The U.S. Open, the Masters has the history of Augusta and all that, but from watching golfers struggle, the U.S. Open is maybe the best you see all year. This was played in 2016. Dustin Johnson won with a 4-under. The three guys tied for second at 1 under. Two guys tied for fifth at even par, and then everyone else was above par. So it's not going to be a very low score that wins this. Last year I'd say was an average U.S. Open score. I think DeChambeau won with it was either 6 or 7 under. I would say
6 under.
I would say if you average all the U.S. Opens lately, that would be around. That'd be right around the value. This one's definitely going to be on the. It's weird. Lower? Do you say lower or higher? It's definitely going to be. Right. It's definitely going to be closer to par. I'll say that than other courses.
Yeah. So starting off the tee, it isn't tight off the tee with the removal of more than 4,000 trees pre-2007, but the margin for error is still incredibly small. Fairways are going to slope, so a ball hit down the middle of the fairway could end up in the deep left or right rough, even if you hit a perfect shot down the middle. There's numerous fairway bunkers. Most are a one-stroke penalty, so you simply try to get out of it and hope to reach the green with your next shot. So driving accuracy will be huge this weekend. Once you're in the fairway, course knowledge is huge. Multiple blind approaches, as I mentioned, to the green. The aiming flagpole is removed. Caddies can provide lines, aiming points, but it's mostly up to the player to trust their shot. And once you're on the green or around the green, it's incredibly fast and sloping on there as well. So speed of the greens affects so many other aspects of your game. So on approaches, it terrifies you. On downhill putts, thick rough surrounding the greens basically swallow your ball. And coupled with the slope of the green makes chipping just even that much harder. So you have to see the value in hitting in missing the right shots. All in all, if you're even slightly off with your driver, you're going to end up in the heavy rough. Can't control the spin out on the ball out of the rough. You're going to miss the green, and then you're chipping onto greens that are some of the fastest in the world. So, in from ankle deep rough. So it's quite the test. The toughest holes, from what I see, are the first hole. It's a challenging opening tee shot with a green that slopes away from you. The third hole has the famous church pews bunkers that are kind of iconic to that course, and a difficult approach shot to an elevated green on that hole as well. The eighth, a nearly 300-yard par three. I can't imagine even trying to play that hole myself. I'd have to shoot from the seniors, the seniors tee box, and then we have the 12th hole, which is a 663-yard par five. That's got to be one of the longest that these guys are ever going to play on. So yeah, just one of the toughest courses that you're ever going to see on tour. I think it's going to be incredible to watch these guys. Let's get into some of the player storylines.
I will say of that par
Yeah.
three, I think I saw two nearly 300-yard one. I think I saw a video today of on the practice round. Morikawa was using a driver to try it out. So I mean,
Oh yeah.
early prediction, yeah, that's gonna be the most entertaining hole to watch. I don't know if I don't know how the coverage is gonna be, but like if there's like a holes that they show every shot from, but that if that is available, you get to watch every shot from oh wait, that would be something.
Yeah,
To watch.
like one of those groupings of like
Yeah,
the three holes. Yeah, yeah. Oakmont in '05, I think the winning score was 5 over par. So I mean, there might have been more trees in that year's tournament, but we could see something pretty cool here with some pretty awful scores at the U.S. Open. The first player storyline I want to get into is Phil Mickelson. So he has already kind of hinted that this could be his last major that he competes in. He would need a win to complete the career Grand Slam. Here we are, another major where we have a potential for a career Grand Slam for him. He's been runner-up in this event 6 times, but he's coming off a T4 in his last week's live tournament. So what do you think of?
He also had an incredible
Oh,
shot. You see that?
that flop shot! Oh my gosh, that was so Phil-esque. That's just a staple to his game. Do you see much of a chance of him at this really tough course at Oakmont?
So he flat out say this. Because he'll always have the Masters exemption. I know his 5 year run because he won the PGA in 2021 at Kiowa Island. I mean that's it ends this year, so this is how he gets into the U.S. Open. But like, is it true that he might not compete in the Masters next year? Or?
He's hinted at it, and he's obviously getting up there in age, and um, he's just not competing as well in these majors anymore. Obviously, he did do well last week at Live, but his past couple of majors, it's not been the
I'm going
Phil
to
of
predict
old.
him. I'm going to last when we did our bets last major. I said he wouldn't make the cut, and he didn't. I'm going to go out. I'm going to say he makes the cut. I think he's going to go out. I think he's going to go out strong. He's not going to contend, but I think he will make the cut. I think
I
he's
think
going
it'll
to
be
come out.
interesting to see who makes the cut and who doesn't. As tough as this course is, we might actually see players that we're not used to seeing on the leaderboard actually stay up on the leaderboard. You never know what's going to happen in these. Um, Bryson DeChambeau, he has won 2 U.S. Opens, including last season's Thriller at Pinehurst. You know he's always going to be in contention at major tournaments. He loves the spotlight. I full on expect to see him on the leaderboard on the TV screen as I'm watching this U.S. Open over the weekend. Obviously, I mean, your thoughts on Bryson, because I think he's going to be in contention if he's winning at Pinehurst. He's already won 2 U.S. Opens, which is an incredible feat in and of itself. But I like his chances to be at least like a top 10 finisher this weekend.
Have you watched his Oakmont practice video that he
I
shot?
have not. I have not actually.
It's actually really entertaining. Yeah, he goes over like the history and stuff, but he plays all 18 holes and kind of walks us through it. For reference, he shot even just for practice round, but I don't know how to feel about him because his iron play has not been good in these 2 majors. He's been spectacular because he's finished top 5 on both, tied for second in PGA and finished 5th in the Masters, had the lead on Sunday, but it's just his approach shots. I mean, his iron play not been good. if he fixes that, I mean, you could argue he's right up there with Scheffler to win. Like those are the two guys to win. I don't know if he will. If he doesn't, he has no chance of winning because I mean, you can't get away with bad. This is, of course, you can't get away with bad approach shots, like you said. How rough chipping would be and how thick the rough is. So he's top 10. I think is a safe bet because I mean, his recent history has just been incredible, and every other aspect of his game is really good and suits the U.S. Open. Hence why he's won twice. So, I mean, but to win it, he's got to step up his iron.
And hitting from those heavy roughs, that's going to be key because he's going to end up there. Every player is going to end up in those roughs. So, one player, obviously, that we want to spotlight is Scottie Scheffler. And Scottie is back to being Scottie. Has wins in three of his last four tournaments with the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson, the PGA Championship, the Major, and then the Memorial Tournament, which is at probably one of the toughest course that these players have played on leading up to the U.S. Open. Scottie now has 2 wins since Bryson last won, 3 wins since Rory and JT last won, 4 wins since Rahm, 5 wins since Brooks, 6 wins since Xander last one, 13 since Colin Morikawa won, 15 since Cantley and Spieth last one, and 19 wins since the USA last won the Ryder Cup. It's hard not to start comparing him to Tiger. But I do see him in a very different light to Tiger. Obviously, Woods was exploded onto the scene and kicked everyone's ass for a decade, sometimes by double-digit strokes. Tiger had this star factor about him, unlike we will probably ever see in this sport, and the way he was able to hit these just amazing shots and the emotion he would really just sucked you in to his greatness. And Tiger's career was that of the greatest peak of any athlete, probably in any sport. But then, of course, the off the course issues derailed it. For me, Scottie's more like Jack or like Phil. Jack won across multiple decades, won the Masters at 46 years old. For me, Scottie, his confidence and his emotions are much more understated, right? If we see a fist pump from him, that's out of the norm. Scottie just does what he needs to do. He doesn't take too many risks on the golf course. He drives it accurately. He's not the longest driver. He's not Rory, but he simply plays the angles. There isn't a specific thing he does greater than anyone else, but he does everything so well. He's such a well-rounded and balanced player. He's going to win a lot more majors. Will he reach Tiger and Jack? I don't know, but he's still a young guy and has a long career ahead of him. But yeah, he hasn't won the U.S. Open yet, but he has an opportunity to put that into his resume and go into the Open next month with a chance to complete the Grand Slam this year. For me, if you want, just lay the house on Scottie this week. The momentum he's on his side with his recent success. He's the betting favorite every week he plays, obviously. He has 3-1 odds for the U.S. Open. Just let that sink in.
It's the plus 275, which is the lowest since
Tiger's prime.
Yeah. Woods was a plus 175 in 2009. He did not end up winning that, though. He finished tied for 6th in 09. But shout out to the Colorado Rockies, though, their social media manager, because did you see they addressed that meme after they swept the Marlins? They say wins since whatever day that series started. Scottie Scheffler 0, Colorado Rockies
0. So,
shout out to them. That got a good laugh out of me. But yeah, I would have to agree that I think Scheffler's the clear favorite just because everything he's doing right now is everything he's doing on the golf course, every aspect of his game is suited for a tough U.S. Open course, and no one else. Like I said, if DeChambeau's iron play if he steps that up, then I think he's right there with Scottie just because it's the U.S. Open.
But you don't have to rely on that when you look at Scottie. You know that Scottie's going to be there.
You know he's going to be there. So yeah, there's no ifs. So I mean, he's clearly the favorite, and not to mention Rory's really slacked off since I tried to tell people, he's got to sweep now. Now that the Masters he's won the Masters,
and it was my way.
He's got that off his chest, and he's just going to dominate these majors. And I'm like, yeah, but
no, it was a relief.
The exact opposite could happen, and he him and the events he's played in, him and Lowry were the overwhelming favorites in the Zurich Classic. I think they finished tied for 12th.
Right.
Barely made the cut in the PGA Championship, and missed the cut in the Canadian Open. So, I mean, that's not to say he could still win this. I mean, if he goes back to Masters pre-Masters, like or pre-Masters Rory, then Masters Rory, if he goes back to that, yeah. But that's a ginormous if, and I don't see it happening.
No, and it was my worry when he won the Masters. It was, what else can he do now? He's completed the Grand Slam. He's won every event imaginable on the PGA Tour. He's won the Tour Championship. He's done everything. There's just nothing else left for him to do. So I won't. I really don't see him as a factor in many more of these tournaments. But one last note on Scottie. If you compare, just put this in perspective. If you compare his rate of return on bets since the start of the 2021-2022 season, and you put that up against the S&P 500, he nearly doubles it. 65.88% betting on Scottie to outright win. That comes back 35.44% on the S&P 500. So, I mean, I saw a post that said if we want to get out of our national debt, we just need to put trillions of dollars on Scottie winning the U.S. Open. And we'll have it. We'll be ready to go. I do have a few sleepers that I want to hit on as potential contenders in this week's U.S. Open. The first one being Ben Griffin. So he's at 55-1 odds. Hottest golfer on the PGA Tour this side of Scheffler. His last 3 events have been T8 at the PGA Championship. He obviously won the Charles Schwab Challenge, and he was second in last week's Memorial Tournament. Last week's Memorial Tournament. That performance was the one that impressed the most. It was a difficult course, like I said, probably the most difficult that these players have seen leading up to the U.S. Open. He scored real low on Thursday, shooting a 65, and he just didn't make any catastrophic mistakes to stay pretty much in contention throughout the weekend. And that's great value on a guy in this kind of form and bringing it on these big events. Another one is Maverick McNeely, 80-1 odds. He's had 6 top 10s. Never really factored in majors, but might be a good fit for Oakmont because he's got a good level head and utilizes a really complete game. And he does enter off a strong T5 at the Memorial, which is, like I said, closest thing we've seen to this U.S. Open. And then there's Harris English, who's at 100-1 odds. Ball striking, consistency. Those are critical to the Oakmont. English has all of those. And he has the demeanor to pretty much handle any of the bad breaks that he'll inevitably get at this course. And he's also got 3 top 10s at the U.S. Open in his career and a runner-up at the PGA Championship last month. So he's on a pretty good hot streak. You got any guys like that you're really looking at?
So I really like Rahm, top 5. He won the 2021 U.S. Open. If he would have just played his regular golf the rest of the Sunday on PGA Championship, he would have finished second. He just got bold because he knew he knew he had to pull something off on those last 3 holes. So like he tried something bold and hit it in the water. So that's why he finished tied for 8th. But I mean, he was tied with Scottie like through 9, or I think Scottie was through 9. He made up some ground on Scottie.
Yeah,
but
just those last 3 holes was.
he's a guy. He's a guy that's built for a U.S. Open course. It's like just consistency. Like I said, just get it in the fairway, get it on the green, just the little stuff. He's had 5 straight top 25s in the U.S. Open, and obviously, I mean, we've said this is the toughest course in the last 5 years, but it's still all those other courses are tough courses. So if you're 5 straight top 25s, that's like DeChambeau. I feel like Rahm's in the DeChambeau category of they're going to be hanging around in the U.S. Open just because of the way they play. So yeah, I like him at a plus 210 for top 5. And then just for the lower bets, I was like looking at who's the best so far this season: fairways and regulation, greens and regulation. So Aaron Rye's the best fairway regulation. So if you want to take a flyer like top 20, I can't see him. I can't see anyone wearing 2 gloves winning, but I could see him being contention. But
good one.
Sepp Straka is an interesting one. He's the best on the PGA in greens regulation, and he's 11th in fairways. So you can get him plus 130 top 20, plus 290 top 10. I don't, however you want to play your money, you get plus money on both of those. And I'd feel pretty confident in that. He's played really well this year. He's a two-time winner.
Yeah, I took that at
Yeah,
plus 125 for top 20.
yeah. And last I checked, it was plus 130 right before we got on. Morikawa, I've seen his name floated around, and which I thought was interesting because he's, like you said, he hasn't won in a while. He's been up there a lot, but he hasn't won in a while. But I mean, just this kind of suits him. I mean, he's not playing awful. He's just not lifted a trophy in a while. But I mean, he's second in fairways in regulation, 44th in greens. But I could see him in the top 10 potentially. He's plus 170. I would probably take that. He hasn't been spectacular in majors like he usually is this year, but I feel like he's due.
Definitely. One of my favorite bets here is the winning score. The over under right now is at 278 and a half shots, which would essentially be a 1.5 under par. So at minus 125, it's not a ton of value, but I think this week we will have a score be better than -1 for the winning score. I think Scottie can at least get to 4 or 5. I don't think we'll have one of those hugely over par winning scores. We haven't had a winning score as high, as +5 whenever Angel Cabrera won in 07, like I said. But I think that would be a bet there that you should take.
I thought you were going to go opposite because
No.
I thought we were going to have a disagreement because I agree with you. And just
as much as I would
so,
like to see a bunch of plus on the scoreboard,
yeah,
I don't think it's going to be
we
that
will,
bad.
we will, but I don't think the leader will.
The leader, yeah,
because like I was just going by history. So 2012, 2013, both those scores finished above. Both those winning scores finished above par. So since 2013, there's only been one time where we had a winning score over par, and that was in 2018 with Brooks Koepka winning at Shinnecock Hills with a +1. Like we said, now when Dustin Johnson won in 2016, he finished 4 under, but there was only 7 other guys who finished even or better. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to be ugly scores, but I think Scheffler, and if someone beat Scheffler, I think they would be over that 1.5. So I don't know about 4. I was thinking more 2, maybe 3, but I agree with you. I'm feeling pretty confident that it will be over that 1.5.
Yeah, and obviously I'm going to put Scottie Scheffler to win plus 280. I think that's still, even to win, I think that's still pretty decent value. A little on Bryson at plus 700 if, like you said, he gets the iron shots going. Top 10, I do have Harris English at plus 1,000. I think I just always see him creeping up around there in the top 10 range in these major tournaments. So plus 1,000 is great value. And then, like I said, I did do Sepp Straka at plus 125 whenever I took it for top 20. He is third on the FedEx Cup point standings, surprisingly. 5 top 5 finishes this season, including wins at the American Express, Truist Championship, and third last week at the Memorial, which pretty much shows me he's not just on a hot streak, that those tournaments span many months of the PGA Tour. So I would definitely like his shot at least a top 20 finish here. Any other bets you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with you. I think Scheffler's going to win. I would also put money on Rahm plus 1,200. I love DeChambeau, but I just don't see his iron play dramatically changing. So if it did, then I would really consider, like, if his iron play was just a little bit better than it had been, I would really consider just taking him over Scottie straight up. But I do, if Rahm's consistency, I think plus 1,200 is good value. Well, I mean, with Scottie being the overall favorite, you're going to get good value from anyone else. So yeah, Scottie and Rahm are my 2 guys this weekend.